I am astonished by this idea that the core of rational inquiry might rest on something as fragile and powerful as moral hope. Moral hope, whatever its exact edges, lands somewhere deep in me. I never expected it to matter this much, even as a metaphor. It pulls me back to an old question of mine, what freedom means inside a living system. For years I imagined freedom as a kind of sideways comparison, different scales laid out like different terrains, each with its own room to move. I didn't realize I'd flattened the picture until I tried turning the idea vertical. When I do that, freedom stretches downward into tiny molecular hesitations and upward into the stories people carry in their heads. A stray electrical ripple in the brain becomes a choice. A choice becomes a habit. A habit pulls on a relationship. The relationship reshapes a household. The household nudges a neighborhood. Soon an entire culture is vibrating with patterns that began in places too small for anyone to see. That's where hope starts working. Hope is the small pressure that lets the future seep into the present. And that pressure almost always arrives inside a story, something spoken or lived or repeated until it feels like the air everyone breathes. When enough people lean in the same direction, the world tilts. Cities are planned differently. Research funding moves, markets shift, entire fields of study reorganize because a generation shared the same expectation about what might be possible. Freedom grows wherever these layers reinforce each other. A nervous flutter in the body becomes a meaningful choice because the mind frames it that way. The choice becomes more stable once other people echo it. A collective echo becomes physical when it changes how crowds move, how policies form, how institutions behave. At that point, freedom feels less like something sitting inside me, more like a pattern forming through a network, an emergent agent built out of neurons, gestures, rituals, conversations, predictions. Once enough feedback loops align, something new begins to act through the system, something larger than any single node. And choices rise through layers: biology, memory, culture, imagination. All of them resonating. Freedom is the shape carved out by that resonance. Hope is the tone that keeps the resonance from collapsing. And stories move bodies. You can watch it in a public square when a rumor spreads. You can feel it when a community suddenly decides a neighborhood is worth protecting. A sentence overheard on a train can change the direction of a life. Words reorganize behavior in ways that leave actual footprints on the world. When a system gathers enough relational pressure, new agents rise out of it. A single synapse strengthens, and a new preference appears. A group begins to coordinate, and a shared intention forms. A scientific community pivots, and a new paradigm is born. Agency keeps crystallizing whenever conditions allow it. Meaning, energy, and relation lock into a new pattern. That's when the system gains a fresh degree of freedom. And for me, that moral hope is the moment I first chose the resistance faction in the game Ingress. Even though I felt deeply disappointed in humanity at the time, something in me still leaned toward the side that said, we're not done yet. That tiny, impulsive choice carried the same current. The feeling that understanding is still possible. The feeling that the human species, for all its failures, might still be able to face itself. A last stubborn no against resignation. A fierce need to understand why I felt that no. And I can't stop thinking what this hope might mean to the universe itself.